All right, if you are thinking about joining us in the mastermind, you probably have some questions. And in this series, I'm just kind of unraveling some of the most frequently asked questions so that you have all the information that you need in order to make an informed choice. So let me share my screen and we are going to dig right in today. Okay, frequently asked question, probably one of the most frequently asked questions, along with what is the ROI, right? That was in a previous video. But this one, it's legit question. Where does the yield come from? Like, Brandon, you're telling me I'm going to earn 50%, 80%, maybe 100% APR or more. Where does that yield even come from? So remember, we're talking about yield farming, which is kind of like this umbrella term that refers to any process in decentralized finance where you produce some sort of yield or reward for yourself. In other words, there are certain actions and protocols that are being incentivized so that people like you and me, just regular investors, can generate additional yield and rewards from the crypto assets that we're already holding. But the big question, where does this yield even come from? Okay, so to just kind of broad strokes here, where does it actually come from? It comes from trading fees. And I'm going to show you, like, I'm going to dig into an actual decentralized exchange platform here in a second and like show you this is how the fees are generated. Okay, but first we should like conceptually what it even is. Trading fees. So what that means is online every day, millions and millions of trades or swaps are happening. So for example, if I want to trade, let's say I want to trade Ethereum and I want to put that in and I want to receive wrapped Bitcoin back out. Okay, easy example, Ethereum and Bitcoin. These are two assets that are constantly being traded all of the time. Or I could go the other way. I could put in wrapped Bitcoin. I could receive Ethereum. Now, in order to make that transaction happen, I'm going to pay a fee. Now, depending on what network I'm on, that fee could be very, very different. But no matter where I'm transacting, I'm going to pay something as a trader. Now, what makes this even more compelling is that online, there's also arbitrage protocols, there are trading bots. So it's not just people, retail traders making swaps here and there, it's constant flow of trading volume, meaning the more trading volume that occurs, the more fees are generated. And if you are a liquidity provider, that means more of that chunk of trading fee income goes directly to you. Little smiley face there for you. Okay, so let me show you what this actually looks like, okay? And rest assured that this is not money out of thin air. Like, unfortunately, in crypto now, there is a lot of that going on. That's like the side of crypto that's kind of like wacky gambling, funny money, made up stuff, versus we're talking about like the very small chunk of decentralized finance that are actually like new technology being built, new code being written, and it's contributing to the infrastructure of what is becoming an entirely new ecosystem of how humans transact and how humans exchange value, okay? So in order for humans to transact and exchange value, there's fees being generated. Well, what does that look like? Here is, make my screen bigger here. This is a decentralized exchange platform called Uniswap, okay? It is the biggest decentralized exchange platform, and it's the most reliable at this stage, okay? Uniswap.org. You can look this up on your own. You can do 100 hours of research on Uniswap if you want to. You'll continually find, hey, this is a legit, awesome, amazing protocol, okay? So I'm just going to launch the app, and I trade on here all the time. Lots of people trade on here all the time. Super easy to use. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use that example that I said before. Hey, what if I want to swap my ETH and I want to get wrapped Bitcoin in return? Okay, well, I'm just going to, for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to do a tiny bit, like 0.01 ETH. That's about $34. Now, look what's happening here. I'll zoom in so you can see it even more. I'm going to pay, based on current market rates, about $34.65 worth of ETH. But what am I going to get in return? Uh-oh, only about 34.58. What happened to that 7 cents? I'm losing 0.2% of what I'm doing. Well, that's part of what's involved in the trade. And then when I swap, it's going to show me, hey, there's this fee here. That's about 0.15%. That's 5 cents. And then there's a network cost of 2 cents. So you can see all these little pennies, right, are starting to add up. And then when I make this transaction, boop, that costs me approximately 7 cents. Okay, obviously I'm paying it in Ethereum because I'm transacting on the Arbitrum network, but based on the current value of Ethereum, that cost me about 7 cents. So what I just did there cost me money because it's a service, right? So people everywhere online, millions of swaps, billions of dollars in value being traded every day, they are paying for an actual real service. And that little 7 cents or whatever that number happens to be times millions and millions and millions and millions of trades, well, guess what? That adds up over time. And anyone who is currently providing liquidity in the ETH wrapped Bitcoin liquidity pool on the Arbitrum network, on the Uniswap decentralized exchange platform, they are going to receive a portion of all of that trading fee income that is generated as a direct result of that. Let me show you real quick how easy it is to become a liquidity provider. This is a big part of what we do in the mastermind. And another big part of it is you have a coach, you have a mentor walking you through step by step how to select the right pairs, how to set this up, click by click, how to make it happen. I'm just doing the quick demo so you can see like this is real, it's actually a thing. And I'm using a tool right now called Aperture. And all I'm going to do is go to liquidity positions. I'm going to take a new position and I'm just going to use that example, ETH and wrapped Bitcoin. Well, I have a little bit of wrapped Bitcoin because I just bought it on Uniswap. And I'm not going to fiddle too much with the ranges right now. They default to 10 and 10. That's kind of like a nuance we deal with down the road. And I'm going to select Bitcoin here. So my pair is going to be about $69 worth of Bitcoin, $63 worth of ETH. They're usually around 50-50 when you first open your liquidity position, but not exactly, okay? So I've got my fee tier selected. I've got my assets selected, my concentrated liquidity range selected. I am now going to open that position. It's going to ask me to confirm it. Great. I come over here to my wallet, confirm again. Even that transaction cost me 3 cents. Do you see how like everything that you want to do in this space, there's just these tiny, tiny little fractional costs. Now, when you're paying them, it's kind of like, ah, what a bummer. But the good thing is now you kind of know how the system works. You can become the liquidity provider and you can get paid from the people who are paying their trading fees. So where does the money come from? It comes from other traders and other trading protocols that are transacting on the decentralized web in the world of decentralized finance. So here's what we've got now, our new liquidity position. And this is just letting me know, hey, liquidity value, I just did a little demo position, $132. If I was opening this up in my main portfolio for a Bitcoin and ETH pair, hey, for this one, I might do 10K, 20K, 30K. I would do a much higher amount knowing that the earning potential is that much higher. And this just gives me some stats around that. Unclaimed fees, obviously this is going to be 0 right now, but you'll see other videos of mine where I come back like after 2 weeks and I'm like, hey, I opened these positions. Let's check on them. Let's see how much that they're generating in unclaimed fees and what that represents as an APR. In fact, there's one video where I'm talking about, hey, here's 3 positions, here's what they equal, and here's the average APR of all 3. And it sounds insane when you start getting into these APRs where you go, wait, 80%, wait, 100%. Anyone who's been around investing knows like those are ludicrous returns. But in the world of decentralized finance, to say, hey, maybe you could get even 50% APR, and that's on top of the appreciation of those base assets that you are holding. Because while you're being a liquidity provider, you are also exposed to both the market upside and downside of those assets, meaning they'll fluctuate with the market just as they would if you held them unpaired. But now we're adding an additional layer of profit opportunity on top of that. And one of the main foundations, one of the main mechanisms that we use is you becoming a liquidity provider so that you can now collect trading fee income. That is additional. So if I say 50%, 80%, that's on top of any other appreciation or growth that you might experience on those base assets. Okay, I didn't want to make this too long, just kind of wanted to touch on that one frequently asked question. Keep watching this space. I'm going to be posting more videos as we go, specifically about, hey, the mastermind frequently asked questions. What is yield farming? How does this thing work? Where do the fees come from? What's the ROI? All those juicy bits that people want to know before they jump into something like this. Because at the end of the day, yeah, there's a membership fee, but it's your capital at stake, right? So if you have a certain amount of capital, you want to know, hey, what's the environment I'm putting it into? What are the safeties and the risks involved with that? And then how does this whole thing actually work? You want to understand, which makes sense, because if you're going to be putting capital into an ecosystem like this, you want to know what it is and what it's going to do and how the whole thing works on the back end. Okay, that's all for now. I'll catch you guys later on the next video.